Well, your workplace, for example, probably has one of these, right? A real recycle bin. But what if you want to do more? You want to become a zero waste business? It can be done.
Oh, yes.
It can be done. Waste Not Consulting's Ashley Baker is here to help. Ashley, good morning. Happy Earth Day.
Yeah, happy Earth Day.
Okay, like you said, look, we all have a recycle thing. It's like now we're trained like, okay, recycle, but there's more we can do. What are the biggest waste makers in any company? Not singling anybody out, but like pretty much any business. What's the number one thing?
I would say the number one thing is going to be a lot of the single-use products, as well as food waste. Those are the two biggest issues right now, and following that up would likely be some shipping items.
And I think what a lot of people want to know is you can actually save a lot of money with some green practices. Explain what you mean by that.
You definitely can. One of the biggest ways you can do that is by refusing certain items, or making some certain swaps. So if you consider items such as durable goods, you eliminate the purchasing of all of the disposable goods, which all end up in landfill anyways. You can also consider some of these swaps. When you buy a whole bunch of single-use items, you know, that fills up your trash bin quite easily, but you can switch it to bulk items, bulk coffee. In this particular situation, you have some items where you can actually use a reusable item instead of just getting the disposable Keurig pods. A lot of these items too, even though they're disposable, they will go into a food waste program. So you can add those into your food waste program, or you can switch it to a loose leaf tea instead of just using the single use.
And if you consider it, it might take you an extra 30 seconds or something like that, but it's worth it ultimately in the long run.
Definitely.
How do businesses get started? Because, you know, it's easy for us to say, well, switch over to this from that, but if you have a business, you have a bunch of people, it takes a little bit of planning, work, and money to kind of start that,
right? It really does. It really does, but not too much. We want to make it easy. We don't want to tell anybody that it's not possible. So the goal would be to assess your waste stream, understand what you're disposing of, look in your trash bin and see what items could be recycled. That will promote having a recycling program. Consider the food waste that's likely going in your trash bin. And when you do that, you have a food waste container at that point. Add some disposal stations in a break room, in a cafeteria, in a kitchen, or a lounge area, anywhere food waste is being generated and disposed of.
And make it easy for the employees so they don't have to like, where's the thing and where's the thing, I have to find it. Just put them out everywhere.
Yeah, consider where it's being generated.
Sure. The items, you mentioned this, what items can be recycled that maybe typically get overlooked and you don't consider it? What kind of, what examples do you have of that?
You know, I mentioned the Keurig pod. This one tends to go into the trash,
ton of
right?
Those everywhere, right.
Nespresso has theirs as well, and if they have closed loop programs, those companies have done a really great job. If you look over on this side, there's a lot of products like this where you're like, okay, well, that's going to go in the trash, but if you flip them over and you consider, do they have a TerraCycle recycling symbol on them? That company is awesome. They have a closed loop program where you can get into their zero waste box, and then you can put items like that into a zero waste box instead of sending it to landfill, and they'll turn it into like a park bench.
If a lot of these businesses kind of put the time and the effort to do this, then you learn it as an employee, and guess what? Then you can kind of take it home and do the same thing at home. Is that 100%. Kind of an easy thing to do as well?
It really is. In my household, I live exactly what I preach, and having systems like an indoor compost.
More people have that, by the way, right?
You know, and I even have a little anaerobic digester guy that's called a Lumi on my counter. And I put all my stuff into it, and it turns into like a little soil amendment. So that's really cool. You can make swaps. Instead of doing paper towels all the time and napkins in your household, you can get paper, cloth napkins. You do this in your restaurants oftentimes, so why not do it at home? As well as paper towels. You can do reusable paper towels as well. And then, of course, using your water bottles. Don't lean so heavily into plastic water bottles as much. Have your refillables. Have your coffee mugs. Go inside a Starbucks. Get it filled. You don't have to get the disposable coffee cups and things like that all the time.
Every little bit helps. And
every little bit helps.
Do our part. That's the one thing we can learn. If you want to find out more about Waste Not Consulting, go to fox5sandiego.com. Ashley, thank you. Appreciate it. As always, good stuff. We'll be right back.